Now to our main story today. When students received their results this morning, some will have been jumping for joy. Others may have been less elated, even disappointed. And if that sounds like you or someone you know, our reporter Gemma Dunstan has 5 steps you can take next.
If you're planning on heading off to uni this year but you didn't quite get the results you were expecting, I can tell you in a minute about 5 things you can do. Number 1, the uni or college you've chosen might let you in anyway, even if your results have slipped a little bit, so it's always worth checking. Number 2, if they don't, there's always clearing. So on the UCAS website, they put up a list of all the unis and colleges where there are spaces. You'll be able to search that until mid-October, and you'll need to reach out to any unis or colleges you're interested in directly. Number 3, if you actually think your grade wasn't right in the first place, you can ask to appeal it. Talk to your school or college, and they'll be able to liaise with the exam board for you to sort this out. Number 4, you can think about resitting your exams. Again, chat to your school or college about that. Number 5, remember that uni isn't the only option. Have a think about the other things that are out there for you, such as apprenticeships and traineeships.
Well, it's a feeling Coventry University psychologist Dr. Rachael Molitor has experienced, and she's keen to share tips on how to deal with disappointment, and she stresses the importance of positive thinking. I asked her what her top tips would be.
There'll be some people that are really excited with their grades. There'll be some people who feel less so and disappointed. And disappointment is a completely natural feeling. It's natural for us to feel that actually what we were hoping for may not be what's happened, at this moment in time. So I would say my 5 top tips for dealing with disappointment is, first of all, just reflecting on your feelings, thinking about why you feel this way. Was it something that may be in or out of your control? And then to talk to someone. So communicating your emotions. It's so important to talk to someone. Sometimes, as they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And that's absolutely the same thing with this. Sometimes talking through things really helps just to slot it together and understand what's actually happened and how we can go about doing it. My next thing would be to suggest to sort of check your expectations. So see what you're expecting to do, whether it be getting A's or 100%, or whether it was just being able to get a certain grade which you were happy to go through to university, and then redirect your mindset. So by this point, looking at the options you have in front of you, have a think about what is your best option in this given situation and how you can make this a positive thing, and then plan for those next steps. We all deal with disappointment, and it's absolutely fine to feel disappointed. But what's most important is not the disappointment itself, but how we deal with that disappointment going forwards.
And it's important, isn't it, that young people feel supported. There will be support through schools, also from family, talking to friends. We hear the word resilience, don't we, quite often in these circumstances. How does that work, and how do you get resilience? How do you pick yourself up?
Yeah, absolutely. So being resilient, it really does take practice, and being resilient is about understanding that things do happen, and we need to reflect on the challenges and sort of build this element of being able to successfully adapt to difficult or challenging experiences. So sort of my tips of being psychologically resilient, as we said, it does take practice, but to understand that we are allowed to be disappointed, and to find our way to sort of build on these pathways and build on the emotions and build on our future. So to find our next steps, again, by talking to people, even going to support lines. There are so many incredible people, for people who've gone on from A-levels going into potentially university now and going through clearing. So I am literally in the midst of clearing at the moment. And I have spoken to some incredible students today who may not have got the grades which they completely may have wanted, but actually they found new things, they found new interests and new paths to take them forward. And that is showing a really key skill in our students, in our next generation, in becoming this psychologically resilient people. So understanding that actually they can set these realistic expectations, they can communicate their feelings, and also just allow themselves to be imperfect. We are all human, and we need to reflect on these sort of areas, these setbacks, in more of a constructive manner to really go forward.
And Rachel, what about social media? What would your tips be to people? Should they stay off it at the moment? Because they'll see so many people celebrating, won't they? Will that make them feel worse?
I think social media is a really interesting area because it's very much a rose-tinted view of people's lives. People don't put on social media that I've had an all right day. I would say if you're feeling sad, to be able to speak to people, communicating, our generations at the moment are very social media heavy. And actually, yes, there are people out there celebrating with the best grades they've got and really excited. But also by putting things on there and saying that, I haven't quite got this, people will come and they will support you and having that conversation. But social media is very much a rose-tinted view and it is not the realistic world that we live in.
Psychologist Dr. Rachael Molitor there talking to me just before we came on air. And after 6 o'clock, we will be looking specifically at A-level clearing.